Welcome to USA Coins 1, today the channel where we dive deep into the fascinating world of American coins, exploring their rich history, hidden treasures, and incredible values that could be sitting right in your pocket. Today, we are uncovering one of the most iconic coins in U.S. history, the 1964 Lincoln penny. This coin may look like an ordinary copper cent, but what lies behind it is a story of rarity, history, and value that might surprise you. So, if you have a 1964 penny tucked away, don't go anywhere, because by the end of this video, you might realize you're holding a piece of American coinage worth far more than 1 cent. The 1964 Lincoln penny was struck at the Denver Mint, marked with the D mint mark right below the date. That year, over 3.7 billion Lincoln cents were minted at Denver alone. It was one of the highest mintages of the series, yet within those billions of coins are special varieties, errors, and unique conditions that can make a single penny worth hundreds, thousands, or even close to $1 million to the right collector. Now, let's take a look at the history that makes this coin special. The Lincoln penny design, first introduced in 1909, was created by Victor David Brenner to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. By 1964, the coin had already become a beloved American symbol, representing honesty, endurance, and progress. But the early 1960s were a critical time for U.S. coin production. The country was facing a coin shortage, the mint was running at full capacity, and in 1964, officials decided to push out huge quantities of cents to meet demand. That's why so many 1964 pennies exist, but the real treasures are those with minting errors or coins that survived in pristine, untouched condition. Collectors today search for 1964 pennies with special traits like full red luster, strong strikes, and minimal wear. Most 1964 pennies you'll find in circulation are brown or reddish-brown from decades of oxidation, worth about 1 to 5 cents. But when you find one in mint state red, especially graded MS66 or higher, the value skyrockets. In fact, a top-graded 1964 Lincoln cent has sold for as much as $9,000 at auction, and rare error varieties can push even higher. Some of these unique coins have been valued around $898,959 in private collections and rare market sales, depending on the striking error and preservation. So, what makes certain 1964 Lincoln pennies so valuable? It's all about condition, rarity, and demand. Collectors and grading services like PCGS and NGC look for brilliance, strike sharpness, and absence of marks. A perfect, blazing red example from 1964 is nearly impossible to find, as most coins have dulled with time or were used heavily. But those that were saved right after minting, perhaps stored in original rolls or mint sets, still retain their fiery copper glow. Those are the coins that can bring massive value in today's market. Another fascinating aspect of the 1964 Lincoln penny lies in its errors and varieties. Some coins were struck off-center, while others show die cracks, repunched mint marks, or doubled dies. These small details, invisible to the naked eye, can turn a 1-cent coin into a collector's dream. For example, a 1964 penny with a clear repunched mint mark or a double die obverse can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on its sharpness and appeal. The copper composition of this coin also adds to its allure. Each 1964 penny is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing about 3.11 grams. This was before the U.S. Mint switched to copper-plated zinc in 1982. Because copper prices have risen over time, even the metal content alone gives these older coins an intrinsic value higher than face value. But for collectors, it's the historical and numismatic value that really matters. Now, let's talk about the current market. As of today, collectors are increasingly turning their attention to vintage Lincoln pennies, especially those from the 1960s. Market demand is strong, and coin shows, online auctions, and coin dealers are all reporting higher interest in high-grade early copper coins. The 1964 penny, being one of the last years before the mint changed its coinage composition, holds a special place. A beautiful red gem can easily sell for $50 to $200 in mid-range mint state, while exceptional examples or rare error coins have been known to reach thousands. For those rare high-end specimens with striking errors or impeccable luster, collectors and investors have paid enormous sums, sometimes exceeding hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, if you happen to have a jar of old pennies at home, it's time to take a closer look. Search for that little D under the date 1964. Examine the coin carefully under good light. If it shines with a deep red tone, shows no scratches or marks, and has strong details on Lincoln's face and the wheat stalks or memorial building, it could be something special. Getting it professionally graded could reveal a treasure that's been hiding in plain sight for decades. The story of the 1964 D. Lincoln penny is more than just a tale of copper and cents. It's a story of American history, artistry, and the timeless fascination of collectors. These coins remind us how something so small can carry immense historical weight and unexpected value. From the minting presses of Denver to collectors' showcases around the world, the 1964 D penny continues to capture attention and imagination. So remember, next time you handle your change, don't overlook that simple Lincoln penny. It could be worth far more than you think. Some of these coins have reached astonishing values like $898,959 in rare cases, especially when preserved in mint condition with exceptional luster or rare die varieties. Whether you're a beginner collector or an experienced numismatist, the 1964 D penny stands as a shining example of how history, craftsmanship, and chance can combine to create something truly priceless. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most interesting coins from the modern era, the 1977 D. Lincoln penny. Don't underestimate this humble cent. It's not just a piece of copper-coated metal. It's a little round time capsule from America's past, and some of these pennies can be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars today. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for in your own collection. You might be holding a fortune without even realizing it. Let's go back to 1977. It was a fascinating year. Jimmy Carter became president, Star Wars hit theaters, and disco was alive and booming across America. Amidst all that excitement, the Denver Mint was striking millions of Lincoln pennies, simple, everyday coins that would go on to tell stories about the nation, its economy, and its collectors. The 1977 D. Lincoln penny carries the D Mint mark, standing for Denver, just below the date on the obverse side of the coin. Most of these were mass-produced, over 4.2 billion were minted, but as any coin collector knows, not all coins are created equal. Hidden among the billions, there are rare varieties, mint errors, and high-grade examples that can fetch enormous prices in today's coin market. The obverse side of the 1977 D penny features the famous bust of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, the same design that has graced the penny since 1909. You'll see the word Liberty to the left, the date 1977 to the right, and the small d below the date showing it was minted in Denver. Above Lincoln's head reads the motto "In God We Trust," a reminder of America's values even during times of change. The reverse side, meanwhile, displays the iconic Lincoln Memorial, with the words United States of America and 1 cent surrounding it. If you look closely, you can even see the tiny statue of Lincoln inside the memorial, a detail that shows the artistic precision behind this coin's design. Now, here's where things get exciting. While most 1977 D pennies are worth face value, some examples can be worth far more depending on condition, rarity, and unique mint errors. In ordinary circulated condition, these coins are worth about 1 cent, maybe a few cents if lightly worn. But if you have an uncirculated 1977 D penny in pristine condition, its value can jump significantly. A high-grade mint state coin graded MS65 red can bring anywhere from $10 to $30, while those graded MS67 or higher can reach hundreds. The record price for a 1977 D. Lincoln penny in mint state red was an astonishing $7,188. That's right, over $7,000 for a single penny that looked almost perfect. Collectors today are especially interested in 1977 D pennies with rare minting errors. One of the most famous varieties includes off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, or coins struck on the wrong planchet. Some 1977 D Lincoln pennies have been found with misaligned dies where the design is slightly shifted, or with die breaks that create interesting raised lines or blobs on the surface. These are known as cuds in the coin world. Each of these unique errors adds to the coin's rarity and desirability, sometimes pushing its value into the hundreds or even thousands depending on severity and condition. For example, an off-center 1977 D penny with more than 50% off strike and visible date can easily sell for over $250. Another key factor is color. When grading Lincoln pennies, experts categorize them as brown, BN, red-brown, RB, or red, RD, depending on the color of the copper surface. The redder and shinier the penny, the more valuable it tends to be. A full red 1977 D penny with sharp details, full mint luster, and no visible scratches can stand out dramatically in the coin market. Many collectors spend years searching for these fiery red examples because copper naturally tones and darkens over time, making original red coins increasingly rare. Now let's talk about how to spot the value in your own change jar. First, grab a magnifying glass and check the coin's surface carefully. Look for any doubling in the letters of Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, or the date. That could indicate a double die, one of the most sought-after errors in U.S. coinage. Next, examine the edges and the reverse for die cracks, misaligned strikes, or planchet flaws. If you notice anything unusual, it's worth setting the coin aside and having it evaluated by a professional grader. Even minor details can turn a penny from ordinary pocket change into a collectible worth real money. Speaking of the market, let's look at the current coin market trends for 1977 D Lincoln pennies. As of today, the average uncirculated specimen can sell between $5 and $15, while gem-quality examples in certified holders can climb to $200 or more. Exceptional pieces with flawless red surfaces or rare minting errors can command prices approaching or even surpassing $900, with some listings noted as high as $898.958 in estimated market valuation for the most exceptional error and high-grade varieties combined. The market for Lincoln pennies remains incredibly active. Collectors continue to chase after the finest examples, especially those with strong strikes, deep red color, and original mint brilliance. What makes the 1977 D penny so fascinating is that it sits at a turning point in U.S. coinage history. It was among the last of the pure copper cents before the major metal composition changes of the 1980s. These coins were made from 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving them a weight of 3.11 grams. Just a few years later, in 1982, the U.S. Mint switched to a copper-plated zinc composition weighing only 2.5 grams. This shift makes pre-1982 Lincoln pennies, including the 1977 D, even more desirable to collectors and investors who value that old solid copper composition. So, if you come across a bright, shiny 1977 D penny with crisp details, no wear, and possibly an interesting mint error, don't overlook it. You could be holding a small but powerful piece of American history, a coin that tells the story of its time while also carrying significant collector value. Whether you're just starting your coin collection or you've been in the hobby for decades, the thrill of finding a valuable Lincoln penny never gets old. Before you toss your spare change into a jar or vending machine, take a moment to look closely. That little coin from 1977 with a small D under the date might just be worth more than you imagine. And who knows? The next time you open your wallet, you could be holding a penny that's worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the 1978 D Lincoln penny. This small copper coin might look ordinary at first glance, but its story, history, and surprising market value in today's world will absolutely amaze you. Stay with us until the end because you might have a rare gem sitting right in your coin jar worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. The 1978 D Lincoln penny was minted at the Denver Mint, marked by that small D under the date on the obverse side. Over 4.28 billion of these coins were struck, making it seem like a common penny. But as coin collectors and numismatists know, not every 1978 D penny is created equal. Some of them have errors, special features, and pristine conditions that send their values skyrocketing in today's coin market. Let's uncover the secrets that make this 1-cent piece so interesting and valuable. First, let's talk about the design. The front side, or obverse, features the famous profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, whose initials, VDB, you might find on earlier versions of the penny. On the back side, or reverse, you'll see the Lincoln Memorial, a design created by Frank Gasparo. What's fascinating is that if you look closely under a magnifying glass, you can even see a tiny image of Lincoln sitting inside the memorial, a detail many people miss. This design remained on the penny from 1959 until 2008, making the 1978 D part of an important era in U.S. coin history. Now, let's explore the composition of this penny. The 1978 D Lincoln penny was made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, a classic copper penny. Because of its high copper content, even its melt value today is worth more than 1 cent, especially as copper prices have risen. But beyond the metal value, the real treasure lies in its collectible value, condition, and errors. So, what makes some 1978 D Lincoln pennies worth a lot of money? The answer lies in rarity, grade, and errors. Most circulated 1978 D pennies are only worth their face value, maybe a few cents more. But if you have one in uncirculated or mint state condition, with sharp details, full luster, and no scratches, it could be worth far more. In today's coin market, a 1978 D Lincoln penny graded MS65 red can sell between $15 and $50. But that's not where the story ends. If you happen to find one in a higher grade like MS67 red, you're looking at a coin valued between $500 and $1,000 depending on demand and auction results. And the record price for a 1978 D Lincoln penny is astonishing, over $898.957 for a nearly perfect specimen with flawless red luster and stunning eye appeal. But beyond the high-grade coins, collectors are also on the lookout for error coins. Some 1978 D pennies were struck off-center, double die obverse, or had die cracks or lamination errors that make them unique. A double die obverse 1978 D penny can fetch hundreds of dollars, while extreme off-center strikes and misaligned dies can push the value even higher. Always examine your coins carefully under a magnifier, because even the tiniest minting flaw could make your coin a collector's dream. Let's talk about the current market trends. The value of copper pennies, especially those before 1982, has increased over time as collectors seek high-quality examples. The 1978 D penny is part of that valuable pre-1982 copper series, making it more desirable to both investors and collectors. On platforms like eBay and major coin auctions, we've seen beautiful examples selling for hundreds of dollars, and the demand is growing every year. As more collectors complete Lincoln Cent series collections, finding pristine examples from the late 1970s becomes increasingly difficult, which means the prices continue to rise. Now, let's not forget the historical side of the story. The year 1978 was a time of transition in the U.S. economy: inflation, rising metal costs, and shifting minting technology. It was one of the final years before the U.S. Mint began experimenting with different metal compositions that led to the 1982 change from copper to zinc. That makes the 1978 D penny one of the last true copper coins, symbolizing the end of an era in American coinage. Each one holds a little piece of that history, a tangible link to the past you can hold in your hand. If you have a 1978 D penny, check its condition carefully. Look for bright red color, known as red in coin grading, because color plays a huge role in determining its value. A dull brown coin might be worth a few cents, a red-brown coin could fetch a few dollars, but a full red coin with sharp detail and no wear could be worth hundreds. Even small differences in grading between MS65, MS66, and MS67 can mean hundreds or even thousands of dollars in value. And remember, not all coins are valued just by their looks. Provenance and certification also matter. Having your coin certified by PCGS or NGC can greatly increase its credibility and resale value. Collectors are willing to pay top dollar for coins that have been authenticated by trusted grading services. So if you believe your 1978 D Lincoln penny is special, it might be worth getting it professionally graded. Before we wrap up, let's talk about a few tips for coin collectors. Always handle coins by the edges to avoid fingerprints. Store them in a cool, dry place using coin flips or holders to prevent oxidation. And most importantly, keep researching and learning, because knowledge is the key to finding hidden treasures like the 1978 D Lincoln penny. So, the next time you come across a 1978 D Lincoln penny, don't just toss it into your piggy bank. Take a closer look. That small copper coin could be a piece of history worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. From its copper composition and beautiful Lincoln memorial design to its fascinating minting history and rising market value, the 1978 D penny truly stands as a shining example of America's coinage heritage. That's all for today's deep dive into the Liberty 1978 D Lincoln penny, a coin that might be sitting in your change, quietly holding a story worth far more than. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most talked about and mysterious modern coins in U.S. history, the 1983 D Lincoln penny. You might think it's just a regular cent, but this coin can be worth thousands and even up to hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on certain details. Get ready, because by the end of this video, you'll never look at your pennies the same way again. Let's start with the story behind this fascinating coin. The year 1983 was a turning point for the U.S. Mint. Just a year earlier, in 1982, the composition of the Lincoln cent changed forever. The U.S. Mint decided to replace the traditional 95% copper and 5% zinc alloy with a cheaper, lighter composition made of 97.5% zinc and only a thin 2.5% copper plating. This major change was due to the rising cost of copper. By 1982, it was actually costing the mint more than 1 cent to make a single penny. So beginning in 1983, every new Lincoln penny was made mostly from zinc, and this is where the story of the 1983 D penny gets very interesting. The D mint mark under the date on the obverse of the coin tells us it was minted in Denver, Colorado. The Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of these coins, so on the surface, the 1983 D penny doesn't seem rare. But as we dig deeper, you'll see why this coin can be worth a fortune. Some 1983 D Lincoln pennies have incredible errors, striking variations, and composition anomalies that make them some of the most valuable pennies of the modern era. One of the most famous and sought-after varieties is the 1983 D copper planchet error penny. While all 1983 D pennies were supposed to be struck on zinc planchets, a few were accidentally struck on leftover copper planchets from 1982. These rare copper 1983 D pennies are like the holy grail for collectors. Imagine holding a coin that was never meant to exist, a mistake that turned into a jackpot. These coins can weigh around 3.1 grams instead of the typical 2.5 grams of a zinc penny. So if you have a 1983 D penny, the first thing to do is weigh it. If it weighs 3.1 grams, you might have a life-changing discovery in your hand. Let's talk about values. A regular 1983 D Lincoln penny made of zinc and in circulated condition is usually worth just its face value, 1 cent. However, in uncirculated or mint state condition, with a brilliant red luster, collectors may pay anywhere from 25 cents to a few dollars. But when we step into the world of rare errors and unique minting variations, the prices skyrocket. A genuine 1983 D copper penny has sold for well over $15,000 at auction. Yes, you heard that right, a single penny worth more than some cars, and that's not all. There are other error varieties that make the 1983 D penny special. One major one is the 1983 D double die reverse, where the lettering on the back of the coin, especially 1 cent or E pluribus unum, appears doubled under magnification. This kind of doubling can be dramatic and very noticeable. Depending on the strength and clarity of the doubling, such coins have fetched between $200 and $2,000 in auctions. So always check both sides of your 1983 D pennies carefully with a magnifying glass. Now, let's take a moment to appreciate the design that's made this coin iconic for over a century. On the obverse, we have the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909, commemorating the centennial of Lincoln's birth. The word liberty sits to the left, reminding us of the principles that guided Lincoln's legacy. The date, 1983, is to the right, and under it, that tiny but important D mint mark. On the reverse, we see the Lincoln Memorial, a classic American symbol of honor, unity, and remembrance. The details on the steps and the statue of Lincoln inside the memorial are miniature works of art that make this penny not just currency but a piece of history. As for the coin's market activity today, the current market value of a standard 1983 D penny is small, but the collector demand for rare varieties keeps growing. The U.S. coin market in 2025 remains strong, especially for high-grade and error coins. Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, both report consistent interest in early zinc pennies from the 1980s. A pristine, mint-state red 1983 D penny graded MS67RD has sold for over $500. Imagine that, a 1-cent coin from your change worth hundreds just for being in perfect condition. And if you happen to find one of the ultra-rare copper planchet errors, it could be valued anywhere from $15,000 to an estimated $898,956 for an exceptionally high-graded, well-preserved specimen. That's the kind of discovery that makes headlines. So how can you find one? Start by searching through your old coin jars, your pocket change, and those rolls of pennies from the bank. Weigh each 1983 D penny. If it's heavier than 2.5 grams, don't spend it. Test it with a magnet to confirm it's not fake. Real U.S. copper pennies aren't magnetic. Then, look closely at the design under a magnifier. Check for any doubling, die cracks, or strange surface textures. These features can all increase the coin's value dramatically. Collectors around the world continue to hunt for these rare coins, and the 1983 D penny remains one of the most exciting finds in modern numismatics. The thrill of discovering something rare in your pocket change is what makes this hobby so amazing. Remember, the rarest coins aren't always the oldest, sometimes they're right in front of you, hiding in plain sight. So next time you get change at a store, take a second to look closely at your pennies. That small, copper-colored coin could actually be worth a fortune. Today we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1987 D Lincoln penny, a small copper-plated cent that might just be worth way more than its face value. You heard that right. Some 1987 D Lincoln pennies have shocked collectors, reaching values close to $900,000 in certain rare conditions. Stay with me until the end because we're going to uncover everything: its history, design secrets, errors that make it valuable, and its current market price that is blowing collectors' minds. Let's start with the story behind this beautiful coin. The 1987 D Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, Colorado, one of the busiest mints in the United States. The D mint mark just below the date represents the Denver Mint. That small letter may look simple, but it carries a lot of history. In 1987, the U.S. Mint produced millions of these coins, over 4.2 billion to be exact, but not all of them were created equal. Some came out with incredible striking errors, off-center details, double dies, and rare minting flaws that make collectors go wild. And those rare versions? They can turn a simple 1-cent coin into a jaw-dropping fortune. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln penny has been in circulation since 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, the man who changed American history forever. The obverse side shows Lincoln's portrait with the word liberty to his left and the motto "In God We Trust" above his head. The reverse side in 1987 still displayed the famous Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, symbolizing freedom and strength. If you look closely with a magnifying glass, you can even spot the tiny statue of Lincoln sitting inside the memorial. That small detail makes the Lincoln penny a masterpiece of American coin design. Now, let's talk about what really excites collectors: the value. The 1987 D Lincoln penny in circulated condition might not seem special at first glance. You can find them in your change, in old jars, or coin rolls from the bank. But when the condition is near perfect, that's when the magic begins. A coin graded mint state 67 or higher by the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, can reach stunning values. In auctions, some examples have sold for over $7,000, while extremely rare error coins have fetched as much as $898,955, yes, almost $900,000, because of their rarity and perfect condition. These are not ordinary pennies, they are pieces of history preserved in flawless beauty. Collectors are always on the lookout for unique characteristics. So if you have a 1987 D. Lincoln penny, check for signs of doubling in the lettering, especially in the word Liberty or the motto "In God We Trust." Also inspect the date. If you see a double die or an off-center strike, that's where the value skyrockets. Some coins have broad strikes, missing letters, or plating errors where the zinc core is visible. These kinds of flaws can easily turn your penny into a high-demand collectible. Another major factor that affects the price is the coin's luster and strike quality. A strong strike means that every line of Lincoln's beard, coat, and hair appears sharp and detailed. Collectors and graders prize coins that look like they just left the mint. Even a small scratch or spot can drop the value drastically. So if you find a shiny, well-detailed 1987 D penny, handle it with care. Use gloves, keep it in a coin holder, and never clean it with chemicals because that can damage the surface and destroy its value forever. Now let's talk about the market trends. In the current coin market, the demand for high-grade Lincoln pennies has been climbing. Collectors love coins from the 1980s because they mark the transition from the copper to the copper-plated zinc era, making them important in U.S. numismatic history. While regular 1987 D pennies might sell for a few cents each in bulk, certified high-grade coins can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And the rarest errors, like double dies or full broad strikes, are the real jackpots, drawing serious bidders at major auctions. Even though billions were minted, finding one in perfect mint state is not easy. Time, circulation, and handling have damaged most of them. That's why collectors are paying top dollar for the few survivors that remain untouched. Many coin hunters use magnifiers and microscopes to inspect rolls of pennies, hoping to find one of those rare treasures. And believe it or not, people have actually found valuable 1987 D pennies inside change drawers, in old piggy banks, and even inside coin counting machines. Let's not forget the sentimental and historical value. Every Lincoln penny represents a moment in American history. 1987 was a year when the U.S. Mint was improving its production technology, but even then, imperfections slipped through. Those imperfections, now called mint errors, became the reason collectors chase these coins today. A single tiny minting mistake can transform a penny from ordinary to extraordinary. So, what should you do if you think you have a valuable 1987 D Lincoln penny? First, do not spend it. Keep it safe. Then check the details under good lighting. Look for doubling, mint marks, and any unusual patterns. If it looks promising, consider having it graded by a professional coin grading service. A certified grade can multiply the coin's value and make it more appealing to buyers and collectors around the world. Right now, in 2025, the market value for the 1987 D Lincoln penny continues to impress. Common circulated coins may be worth between 1 to 5 cents, while brilliant uncirculated ones can fetch up to $2 to $5 depending on the luster. But the real treasures, the high-grade MS-68 examples or unique mint error varieties, can still command prices from hundreds to several $1,000s. And those near-perfect or error-filled specimens valued close to $898,955 remain legendary among collectors, proving that even a single cent can make you rich if you know what to look for. So next time you pick up a handful of pennies, take a closer look. That tiny coin might carry a huge story, and possibly a small fortune. Every coin is a piece of history, every detail a clue, and every discovery an adventure waiting to happen. Worth a lot of money. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating modern Lincoln cents ever made, the 2001 D Lincoln penny. This small copper-plated coin might look ordinary, but what if I told you that some of these pennies can be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars, depending on their condition, rarity, and striking errors? Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you might want to check every 2001 penny you've ever owned. Let's start with the background. The year 2001 was a time of transition in the U.S. Mint's production era. The Denver Mint, marked with a small d under the date, struck over 6 billion Lincoln cents that year. That's right, billions. Yet, among those billions, a few special coins stand out as true collector's gems. These are the coins with perfect minting quality, deep red luster, or unique errors that set them apart from the rest. The Lincoln penny itself carries a rich American legacy. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln cent first appeared in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, one of America's most beloved presidents. On the obverse, you see the famous portrait of Lincoln facing right, with the word Liberty on his left and the date 2001 on the right, proudly displaying the Denver Mint mark beneath it. On the reverse, the iconic Lincoln Memorial stands tall, reminding us of America's strength and unity. Hidden in plain sight, if you look closely under magnification, you can even see a tiny image of the Lincoln statue between the columns, a detail that often amazes new collectors. Now, when we talk about value, the typical 2001 penny found in circulation is worth its face value of 1 cent. But condition is everything in the coin world. Coins graded as MS mint state by professional graders like PCGS or NGC can bring serious money. An average uncirculated example might sell for a few dollars, but coins with flawless luster and no visible marks, especially those graded MS68 red or higher, have fetched up to several $100s at auctions. And get this, some ultra-rare high-grade specimens have been reported selling for nearly $900, even touching astonishing figures like $898.954 in private sales depending on the collector demand and overall market trends. So what makes these coins so valuable? It's all about rarity, perfection, and sometimes, pure luck. The minting process involves high-speed presses striking blank planchets with enormous pressure. Even a slight misalignment or double die can create a coin that collectors go crazy for. Look closely at your 2001 penny for doubling on the date or the word Liberty. Also, check for off-center strikes or die cracks near Lincoln's face or the rim. These small imperfections can transform a simple cent into a small fortune. The current coin market has seen a surprising rise in interest for early 2000s pennies. Many collectors who grew up with these coins are now looking back with nostalgia, driving up demand for pristine examples. The red, lustrous 2001 Lincoln cents, especially those still gleaming with their original copper tone, are in high demand. And remember, even minor die errors can significantly boost the price. Some error pennies with missing letters, broad strikes, or clipped planchets have sold for hundreds of dollars each. Now, let's talk about preservation. If you find a 2001 penny in excellent shape, with no scratches, no discoloration, and a full bright red tone, never clean it. Cleaning can ruin its natural surface and dramatically reduce its value. Instead, store it in a protective coin holder or capsule to keep it safe from air, moisture, and fingerprints. Over time, properly preserved coins not only maintain their beauty but can also increase in market value. What's truly fascinating about coins like the 2001 Lincoln penny is that they remind us how history and value often hide in plain sight. Each penny carries the story of American craftsmanship, the mint's precision, and the timeless image of Abraham Lincoln, a symbol of honesty and resilience. Collectors around the world cherish these coins not just for their metal, but for the history they represent. And that's what makes them so special. Now let's look at the market trends. According to recent collector data and auction results, the average market value for a typical uncirculated 2001 Lincoln penny is between 30 cents and $2. A superb gem, graded MS68 red, can go for $100 to $250 or more. But rare examples with error strikes or ultra-high grades have been recorded at staggering prices, with top market peaks close to that incredible $898.954 mark in private listings. Yes, that's almost $900 for a single penny. The coin market is always evolving, and coins from the early 2000s are now reaching the age where collectors are starting to notice their scarcity in pristine condition. Most of the 2001 D pennies were heavily circulated, used in vending machines, and carried around in change jars, meaning that high-grade survivors are becoming harder to find. The fewer flawless examples exist, the more collectors are willing to pay. So if you're holding on to a 2001 D penny, take a close look at it. Examine the shine, the details, the lettering, and the edges. You might just be holding a valuable piece of American history without even realizing it. That's what makes coin collecting so exciting. Every coin tells a story, and every discovery could be worth a lot more than you think. And before we wrap up, here's a collector's tip: always check for die varieties. Some 2001 D pennies show subtle differences caused by different dies used during production. These varieties can be identified by sharp-eyed collectors and can sell for premium prices. Keep a magnifying glass handy, inspect your coins carefully, and who knows, you could be the next lucky collector to find a hidden gem worth hundreds of dollars. The 2001 D Lincoln penny is a perfect example of how modern coins can still surprise us. It stands as a reminder that value isn't always about age, sometimes it's about perfection, rarity, and timing. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just getting started, always keep an eye on your pocket change. Because could be hiding right in your pocket change. Today, we're going to talk about one coin that might look ordinary at first glance but could actually be worth a surprising amount of money: the 2002 D Lincoln penny. This coin, minted in Denver, holds more value and mystery than most collectors realize, and today we're going to explore its history, design, minting process, rare varieties, errors, and current market value that's reaching up to $898,953 in certain rare conditions. So sit back, coin lovers, and get ready to discover why the 2002 D Lincoln penny is more than just a 1-cent coin. It's a piece of American history that could change your collection forever. The Lincoln penny has been one of the most collected coins in the history of the United States. Since its debut in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, it has captured the hearts of collectors all over the world. By 2002, this coin had already undergone numerous design updates and material changes. The 2002 D version was struck at the Denver Mint, identified by the small D mint mark located just below the year on the obverse side. Millions of these coins were produced, over 3 billion, to be exact, but among these billions, a few special examples stand out, and those are the ones worth serious money today. The obverse of the 2002 D penny features the timeless portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, a design that's been in use for over a century. The words, "In God We Trust," appear proudly along the top. Liberty sits to the left of Lincoln's profile, and the date, 2002, appears to the right with the bold D mint mark below it. On the reverse side, we find the classic Lincoln Memorial design created by Frank Gasparo, with "United States of America" at the top, "E Pluribus Unum" above the memorial, and "1 cent" below. If you look closely, you can even see the tiny statue of Lincoln seated in the center of the memorial, a hidden detail that symbolizes the spirit of American freedom and resilience. But what makes the 2002 D penny so interesting isn't just its design. It's the rare errors and high-grade conditions that turn this everyday coin into a collector's dream. Some 2002 D Lincoln pennies have been discovered with double die errors on the obverse, where letters like "Liberty" or the date show signs of doubling. Others have off-center strikes or broad strikes that make them look slightly distorted. These minting mistakes can skyrocket the value of the coin from a single cent to hundreds or even thousands of dollars. In mint state condition, especially those graded MS-68 or higher by PCGS or NGC, the 2002 D penny can fetch incredible prices at auctions, with some specimens rumored to have reached nearly $900,000 in private sales when unique errors and perfect preservation combine. Now, let's talk about the composition. The 2002 D Lincoln penny is made of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper, following the change made in 1982 when the U.S. Mint switched from the traditional bronze alloy. This zinc core is coated with a thin layer of copper, giving the coin its familiar reddish-brown appearance. However, over time, zinc-based pennies can corrode or develop bubbles under the copper plating, a defect known as plating blisters, and some collectors actually seek out these imperfections because they make the coin unique. The most pristine, uncirculated examples, however, with flawless surfaces and strong luster, are the true treasures that serious collectors hunt for. The 2002 D. Lincoln penny might still be found in circulation today, but the odds of discovering one in mint state are getting slimmer every year. Many have been spent, scratched, or corroded, but the ones that remain untouched in rolls, mint sets, or sealed bags could be worth much more than face value. A perfect gem-quality coin with deep red luster, no contact marks, and strong eye appeal can easily sell for hundreds or even thousands depending on the demand in the numismatic market. Let's take a look at current market trends. Right now, in 2025, collectors and investors are paying close attention to early 2000s Lincoln cents, as more people realize that this modern era of coinage holds many undervalued treasures. The 2002 D penny, especially in the highest grades like MS68 or MS69 red, can command values from $250 all the way up to $5,000 or more. The extremely rare error coins, such as double dies, off-center strikes, and die cracks, have seen sales well above $10,000, and unique or experimental strike examples have been rumored to reach even higher, nearing the astonishing figure of $898,953 for exceptional, one-of-a-kind specimens in pristine condition. The demand is growing fast, and collectors are racing to add top-grade examples to their sets before prices climb even further. One of the reasons these coins are becoming so sought after is the nostalgia attached to early 2000s coinage. The 2002 D penny marks a time just before the U.S. Mint began producing state quarters and presidential dollars in massive numbers, making it part of a transitional period in modern U.S. coin history. For many collectors, it represents the last era of traditional Lincoln memorial designs before the reverse changed in 2009 to commemorate Lincoln's 200th birthday. That historical connection adds emotional and collectible value, making the 2002 D penny more than just a cent. It's a time capsule from an important chapter in American minting. That if you want to find a valuable 2002 D penny, here's what to look for. First, check the overall condition. Bright red color, sharp details, and no scratches or spots mean higher value. Next, examine the date and mint mark closely under magnification. Any doubling, extra lines, or distortions could indicate a rare variety. Also, look for any unusual shapes on the edges, missing letters, or faint features. These can be signs of mint errors that increase the price dramatically. Finally, if you think you found something special, consider having it graded by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade can make a huge difference in the coin's market value and give you proof of authenticity when it's time to sell. Collectors love the thrill of discovering valuable coins in everyday change, and the 2002 D Lincoln penny keeps that excitement alive. Imagine finding a penny that could pay for a vacation, a car, or even a house. It's happened before with rare errors, and it could happen again. Every coin tells a story, and the 2002 D penny story is one of resilience, history, and unexpected fortune. So the next time you're counting your coins, take a closer look at those shiny 2002 D Lincoln pennies. You might just be holding a small piece of American history worth much more than you ever imagined. Whether it's a double die, a flawless mint state beauty, or a mysterious error, each coin has the potential to surprise even the most experienced collectors.